Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It is Jen with Jennifer's Journal, and in today's video I will be doing my monthly setup for February in my A5 dot grid notebook by Archer and Olive. This is in the Majestic Skies cover. It is so beautiful. I have a whole walkthrough of this planner or this notebook on my channel already, but oh my gosh, I fell in love with this cover. My weekly planner, my traveler's notebook, is in the same cover. I like to have my weekly planner and my bullet journal match. That's just a thing that I started last year and it is carrying through. So starting off, I am going through everything that I will be using in this monthly setup. I am actually recycling a kit from last year. It is by Shawnteplans. I believe it is their Coquette collection. Again, if you guys are not new here, you know that I am in a no spend for 2026 and I am just trying to use what I have. And I had so much left over from this kit from last year that I decided, you know what? We're just going to use it again. So I did the little walkthrough of everything I will be using. I did supplement this kit because I did use, like I said, I used this kit last year too. So I did supplement this kit with some extras from my collection. I pulled in some sheets of florals from Florina Paperie. I pulled in a sheet of florals from the Sweet Planner. Oh my gosh. I was going to say Red Lyrics. I was like, that's the wrong thing, Jennifer. From the Sweet Planner and a couple little odds and ends, some foil from Paper Trail Plans, from Sadie Stickers, and also some alcohol ink swatches from Paper Trail Plans and also Sadie Stickers. So starting off, as always, I like to set up my monthly calendar. I did a walkthrough of my bullet journal and what I like to do with my bullet journal every month. And like I said in that video, these are the spreads that work for me. These spreads are not going to change. I kind of got overwhelmed last year with, first of all of the creativity in some of these interactive pockets and spreads that you see in the community. I am massively inspired. I just know my wheelhouse. I know what works for me. I know what works in terms of like my style, and this is what works for me. Every time that I try to like branch out, I get overwhelmed and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to pick up my planner or my bullet journal. And I like to use my bullet journal for tracking certain things. So these are the spreads that work for me. So this is my, I guess you can call it a cover page, but it's basically just the month. It's a monthly calendar. And I like to use this to kind of decorate and put in, you know, everything. So it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I do a 22 by like 19, like in terms of spacing. I'm terrible when it comes to bullet journal spacing. I will get better, I swear. But the grid that I use, it's like 19 dot grids high and 22 dot grids wide. And those are kind of the rough measurements that I like to stick to when it comes to my monthly calendar. And then I pull in like the days of the week letters, and then I number the calendars. And that's basically it in terms of how I decorate my calendar spread. I love to decorate the page with different washies. I did pull in a bunch of different color like washies from my collection. This was actually the main washi that I use to kind of border each one of my spreads, is a grid washi that came in like a big pack that I think I purchased from Amazon just because it came with all kinds of different styles and colors for grid spacing. And that is the main focal washi that I pull in to the spread. But in terms of like the functionality of this spread, that really covers it. So I'm going to go ahead and play some music while I finish setting up the spread, and then I will jump back on when I start to do the next spread. We'll see. Okay, we'll see how I do with this voiceover in terms of my bullet journal setup. Again, I'm getting back into the groove of voiceovers. I've said this in like my last 3 videos now. I swear this will be the last time I say it, but I'm trying to figure out what style works for me in terms of like bullet journaling and notebooking, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to play some music while I lay down the decorations, and then I will talk to you guys more when I move on to the next spread. So the next spread that I am working on is my this month section. And again, if you saw my video of my walkthrough of my bullet journal, I am heavily inspired by Tay of Shawnteplans, who taught me how to create a pocket in my bullet journals. And I always like to turn this spread into a Dutch door and create a little pocket, because what I like to highlight in my months, are kind of just like they're little, again, funny. They're little bullet points that happen, like little things that happen throughout the month, or little important dates that I need to remember. And what I love about turning this into a pocket Dutch door is it can still be creative. I can still take pictures of it, but I'm not sitting there and sharing every single little bit of information about my month and like important dates that are going on. It can be, there can be a little sense of privacy. So I thoroughly enjoy doing my spread this way for this month, and I have learned so many tips and tricks, especially about making Dutch doors from Amy of Amy Plans Things. That's actually where I learned about this nifty little cutting tool that I'm using. It is called a gyro cut, and oh my gosh, if you guys want to do creative Dutch doors, and get all the intricate little details, like you want to use florals or stickers or something, and you want to get those edges perfect, I highly recommend investing in a gyro cut. It's a little blade and it spins. So you go down and you can get into each little nook and crevice of like these delicate, dainty florals. And it gets right up close to it to where it makes it like a really good cut instead of having to like fussy cut it or use scissors. That takes so much time. Like, because when I was doing Dutch doors and like cutting around florals in last year's journal, I was using my X-Acto knife, and yes, it worked, but the edges weren't as smooth, the corners weren't as sleek, and it just took me so much time. So if you want to do Dutch doors in your notebooks, journals, whatever, I highly recommend investing in a gyro cut. It makes your life so simple. Also, if you like the pocket style of this spread, Tay of Shawnteplans does have, she has a little series on her channel where she kind of does a step-by-step tutorial on how to do some of these interactive pockets. That's another reason I got like massively inspired and tried to step outside of my comfort zone and do all these little interactive things, because Tay created this series on her channel where she would teach how to do these interactive pockets and different like, little things that you could do in your bullet journal. And of course, like anything that Tay does, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a masterpiece. It's beautiful. Of course I want to try it. But honestly, there was just, realistically, there was only a couple of things that I was like, okay, this is the only thing that works for me. And this one, the pocket, I would dare say it's probably one of the easiest tutorials to follow, if you want my opinion. And it's the one that has been the most functional for me. And she goes into detail about how to make the pocket and also the little insert that goes inside of the pocket. As you can see here, I'm putting the little insert in the pocket now. I didn't go into detail about making the insert or the pocket because Tay already has such a great and informative video on how to do it. I will link her video below because I think it is such a great video and she goes into such great depth and detail. So if you are interested on how I created this pocket, I will link her video down below because that's where I got the inspiration. And also I will link Amy Plans Things. I will link her channel because honestly, she's like the queen of Dutch doors, and that's where I learned about the gyro cut and how to do Dutch doors in the most perfect way. So I will link that video from Tay and also Amy Plans Things. But yeah, right now I'm just decorating the little insert and the pocket. I love that. I haven't put I think I've placed her there, but the little doll that I put on the front of the pocket, oh my gosh, she was like the inspiration for this whole thing. I feel like she's just so cohesive with the entirety of the spread. She just screams coquette and Valentine's Day and just, so beautiful. So that pretty much completes this spread. So like I said, I'm going to just continue on, throw some music on and move on to the next spread. So moving on to my next spread in this setup, obviously on the back side of this Dutch door, I am matching some of the floor as best as I can, matching some of the florals. Again, if you really want to maximize your Dutch doors, having florals that kind of match some of those cuts that you made with your gyro cut is like the way to go. And again, I will link Amy of Amy Plans Things in my description because she really goes into detail about how important it is to try and match florals on either side and using stickers. A lot of the times, when you do a Dutch door, it's the easiest way to do it is to use washi tape. So that way you can have washi on both sides and it'll match. But I love using florals, and also she teaches you can do some sticker surgery too to make the florals kind of match up how you want them to on either side of the Dutch door. But I thoroughly enjoy using florals on either side of my Dutch door just because I feel like it brings a lot of character and pulls in a lot of the same elements of the spread. But moving on to this spread, this is my playlist spread, and this is, again, all of this can be talked about in my walkthrough of my bullet journal and all of my spreads and my setups and what I like to have in my monthly setup. This is my playlist spread. And basically, I have it set up into two columns, the songs and the artists. Basically, I will put in one column the songs that I just have on repeat for the month and what artists they are by, or if there's a specific artist that I'm really into or listening to, I'll put it on the other side. But I like having this list, this tracking system in my bullet journal because I go through phases in music. Like there will be songs that are stuck in my head and I play on repeat and I'll be like, I have to listen to that. And then all of a sudden it changes like the seasons. And I'm like, I like to go back and look and go, what was I listening to in January of 2025 or whatever? And it's actually come in handy because I don't know if you're a Spotify user, but they do a Spotify like Wrapped basically, where it shows all of the music you were listening to throughout the year, and it kind of does a wrap up of like the songs and how many hours you listened to one artist or what your top artist was. And I love that because I can go back at the end of the year and go, oh yeah, that's right, I was really into this artist at this time. But this is kind of like a way for me to do it monthly, so that way I can stick to, I can revisit some of the songs that were my favorite out of the month. But I really enjoy this spread, and I like keeping it on this size page. This is like a smaller, basically like a half size page of a Dutch door. I attempted to make this spread a full page spread. I attempted to make this kind of like a half page spread, but honestly, this has been the best way for me to track my songs. I feel like I don't need that much space. It just works. This size really works for me in terms of like a memory keeping in a bullet journal. Also, shout out to Erin Smith. I love doing the second line highlight. I feel like it brings a lot of like a pop of color. Not that I don't need any more pop of color in my spreads. I love how colorful my spreads are, but I feel like it adds a little bit more interest and it keeps the boxes from being just, a little too plain and a little too, I don't want to say boring, but for lack of a better term, boring. And oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. These music note, like these music staffs and everything, like the sheet music, foiled stickers. I'm sorry, that was my phone and it buzzed. I apologize. But these music note stickers from Paper Trail Plans, I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm going to run out of them. I have not revisited Jess and Susie's shop to see if they're still there. I really hope so. I know I'm on a no spend, but if I run out of these are like intricate. These are a crucial part to my spreads because I pull them into every single one of my playlist spreads for my monthly setups. And these are a decorative sticker that I will break my no spend on just so I can keep the cohesiveness, because I feel like the music notes pull in a little bit of cohesion. I don't know if that's a word. I think it's a word, but I feel like it kind of ties in the theme of the page for my play. Like I can look at this and yes, I know it's my playlist spread, but having the music notes there and everything, it just, I don't know, it makes me feel happy when I look at it, and it like really does set the tone for, okay, this is my playlist spread. Okay, so moving on to the next, uh, my goodness, the next section. I couldn't think of the word. I was like, what am I moving on to? The next section of my bullet journal. This is another absolute okay, like all of my obviously, since I'm using all of these spreads, of course they're all going to be my favorite, but this one in particular, I love my movies and TV spread in my bullet journal setup. This is another non-negotiable. I utilize this every single month religiously. It is so good. And this 112 million% is a setup that I got. Like the layout was 100% designed by Tay of Shawnteplans. And again, I'm just going to link Tay's channel. She has a whole playlist of like how to set up certain spreads in your bullet journal, because she has a tutorial on how she created this layout as well. This is 100% her design, and it is the most useful setup in terms of tracking what I've been watching, like in terms of like what movies I've been watching, what shows I've been watching, and down at the bottom, it's like a tracker, like a grid tracker, with different categories. So like the categories that I have action, comedy, drama, kids, horror, suspense, a series, romance, and documentaries. And I can go back and I can look, okay, what was I watching the most of in this month? 9 times out of 10, I watch a lot of horror movies because that's, again, if you know me, hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm a movie makeup artist. I do special effects makeup. That is my passion, my joy, and I love it so much. So I am really big into horror movies and movies that have like extreme makeup in it. I have an entire Instagram dedicated to my makeup, and it resonates with me and holds a special place in my heart. So I love going back and seeing what movies I watched. Now, right now, I am currently in the middle of watching all of the Oscar nominations for Best Picture and also Best Makeup. So the categories are all over the place right now. But there are my staples that I love to go back and watch. But yeah, this is a non-negotiable spread in my setup. And once again, I will link Tay of Shawnteplans' channel down in my description box, because she has a thorough and in-depth tutorial on how to build this spread. If you enjoy it as much as I did/do, highly recommend it, especially if you like you're a movie buff like me and you like to track the things that you watch. So highly recommend it. You would think after all of the times of me making this particular spread, I would have the categories memorized, but I don't. So you'll see me flipping back and forth to last month's spread to make sure that I have all of the categories in the proper spot. And then I just go in, and in the left box, I have, those are my favorites for the month. So I have my favorite show, my favorite movie, and documentary. But I think I might need to change that third one because I haven't been watching as many documentaries lately. So I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. So moving on to the next spread in my setup here. This is my currently section. And I know what you're thinking. This might be pretty similar to my movie and TV section, but it's not. I use this section for what I'm currently, I have 3 different sections for it. If it's what I'm currently reading, what I'm currently watching, and what I mean by watching is I mean watching like on YouTube. I put TV on there because I watch YouTube on my TV. So I have a box for what I'm currently reading, what I'm currently watching, and what I'm currently playing. And I might need to switch that category because like we've been playing Resident Evil in my house. But I may need to switch that to like what I'm listening to podcast wise, because there are a couple of podcasts that I have been listening to. So I think for next month, I'm going to switch that box to what I'm currently, like what podcasts I'm currently listening to. So currently I'm actually rereading The Hunger Games, and I'm actually contemplating rereading the Twilight Saga. I know. But I was actually listening to a podcast about the Twilight movies, and it actually inspired me to want to pick up and read the Twilight books again. But there's also a couple other books on my Audible list that I want to read. There's Project Hail Mary. There's this one series, this one author, she looked really interesting. There's this book called The Boyfriend, and it's a whole series of things, and it just seemed interesting to me. So I need to switch that from reading to Audible too, because I know this is really bad. I don't have time to read books. I listen to them on Audible. I have an Audible account, and I love listening to audiobooks. So I think next month I'm going to switch that to Audible. The second box will be YouTube. And then that third box, I think I'm going to change to podcasts. But yeah, that is how I set up my currently section. And I know you guys may be like, okay, well, you have all those sections in your movies and TV. And I'm like, yes, but that is strictly movies and TV. This is like podcasts and books and YouTube. It is in my head completely different. You can argue with me about it in the comments if you like, but I am standing firm in my stance on that. So that is how I set up this page. Again, it's very simple. I have my 3 boxes of my top 3 things that I'm keeping track of, what I'm doing currently for the month, and then I decorate it. It's very simple. Maybe it's a little plain Jane, but I thoroughly enjoy it. I will say I did pull in a deco sheet from Jamison Reed Designs that I felt like really pulled, like it tied together. I love pulling in several dolls throughout my spreads. Maybe someday soon I will go through my entire sticker collection and like walk you guys through like my organization process. I keep talking about that. I just need to do it. But anyways, I have a huge like deco doll collection, and I have a very large collection from Jamison Reed Designs, and I have held on to this particular doll / floral collection from Jamison Reed Designs for so long, and I felt like now was the most perfect time to use it, because if you guys saw at the beginning of me flipping through what I was using for this spread, the Paper Trail Plans collection was very bare bones. Like there was, I say bare bones, there was enough left over for me to keep the theme throughout the entire spread. I had enough florals and like floral clusters and everything, but in terms of like filling out the deco for the entirety of the spreads, I wanted to build upon it. So I did pull in elements from Florina Paperie, from the Sweet Planner and also Jameson Reed Designs. And I loved this particular Jameson Reed Designs deco sheet with the girl in front of the telephone booth. I just thought it was so pretty. It had those pink, beautiful elements because yes, this is the season of love, but it's also, to me, like February is the introduction to spring. Like I feel like January, we're finally we're ending winter. Everything ends the winter in January. And then February, the very end of February anyways, we can start introducing like florals and flower bouquets. And yes, it's very pink and very full of love, but this one I was like, I'm going to introduce it because I'm forcing spring because I love spring, especially spring in my planner. So I chose to pull in this particular doll set from Jameson Reed Designs because I was like, it's pink, but it's also spring. So yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next section in my bullet journal. This is my social media tracker. And again, I know I've been very sporadic on both Instagram and also YouTube, but one of my goals for this year is to get back into posting regularly. Because it's one of my hobbies. It's something that I enjoy. And so I want to get back into tracking. And I'm doing another Dutch door spread for this. This is another thing that's not going to change. In whenever I first got started bullet journaling, I tried to make a social media tracker that was like a full page, and I just wasn't using it because I had no need for it. I don't post my planner content on TikTok, so I didn't need a TikTok section. Basically, the simple setup is I have a box for ideas for YouTube videos and potentially Instagram Reels. Down at the bottom, I did pull in two little bow boxes from Miss and Meow, formerly Regina Laughs, and that's to track the numbers on my YouTube from the beginning of the month, and then at the end of the month I will go in to show the growth if there's any. Same with my Instagram, but the box up at the top just for ideas. Like I actually am looking at my bullet journal right now, and the top idea that I have was I want to go through and do a sticker collection / organization video. I want to show you guys how I've organized my stickers, especially since I'm not buying any stickers for this year. I want to show you guys how I have the entire year organized and set up for use, especially with like my Ray and Tay binders that have all of my extras and add-ons and my sticker books and things of that nature. So I have, one of my ideas is a sticker organization video. But that's pretty much it. I like to have just this little Dutch door with one box to talk about my social media ideas and then tracking my numbers on YouTube and Instagram. And it's a very simple Dutch door and it works for me. So the next spread that I am setting up on the other side of my Dutch door is an order tracker. And I know, before you guys are like, but Jennifer, you are on a no spend. Yes, I'm on a no sticker spend. But as I have stated before, I am a makeup artist. There are supplies that I have to buy. I do have to purchase work clothes. And there are just other little odds and ends that I do order on Amazon and other things. And I need to keep track of them. So, whereas I may not be ordering stickers, I am ordering other random odds and ends and things of that nature. So don't freak out. I'm not breaking my no spend on stickers. Again, this is a very, very simple tracker, especially because I'm not ordering stickers like I used to and utilizing this tracker as heavily as I was using it, I want to say last year. Or not last year, but in years past, I would be utilizing the heck out of a order tracker, especially for stickers. So for this spread, it's, since it is on the back of a small Dutch door, which is basically less than half a page. It's one box. And you'll see whenever I set it up, I think it's 18 dot grid. It's like 18 dot grid spaces high and 13 dot grid spaces wide. And I section it off. You'll see here in just a little bit, I section it off to where I write down the name of the thing that I ordered or the shop that I ordered from, like Amazon or whatever makeup shop, the date that that I ordered it, and then right next to it will be the date that it arrived. So it's just another way for me to keep track of some of these things that I order. We live in such an e-commerce world where we're ordering things online left and right. Like I ordered Valentine's Day presents and I need to keep track on when they get here and where they're coming from and how long it's been. So that way it doesn't get lost in my email, which is currently my inbox is shameful with how many emails are in there. So it's like, I don't check that. So yeah, that is what this page is used for. So moving on to the final spread in my bullet journal. This is how I always love to end my monthly setups is with my fitness tracker. Again, if you're not new here, you guys know I have been a personal trainer for 8 years. Fitness is extremely important to me. I don't have any current personal training clients, but I love to keep track of my personal goals and my fitness. So I love tracking it. And I came up with this layout in my bullet journal from last year. It was a rough go. I'm not going to lie. Like I look back at like the tracker that I first came out with. I knew I wanted this layout. I really enjoy it. Because I tend to like to work out about 5, maybe 6 days a week. And I didn't want to just do a traditional calendar layout. I wanted it to be a horizontal layout, and the idea, it was in my head, and the execution the first time that I tried it was very rough, very, very rough. But the dot grid spacing it's 21 dot grid spaces wide and 22 dot grid spaces high. And then the boxes that I utilize, they are 5 dot grid spaces. They're 4x5 dot grid spaces, if that makes sense. So it's like 5 dot grid spaces wide, 4 dot grid spaces high. And I lay it out like I would just a regular calendar. I mark the days, but I mark the days like horizontally. And then I put in like one of my fitness icons, like from Crafts by Towie or JKCREATESCO, or little icons that my mom has made. And I put down a little icon on the days that I go to the gym and everything. It works for me. In my brain, it makes sense. And to me, it's necessary. And I like having it this large, and it works because then I always have a full page for the following month's calendar. that is everything for my monthly setup. Here is a final flip through of everything starting from beginning to end. Like I stated from the beginning, this is not going to change. This is pretty much my every month setup for my bullet journal. The only thing that is going to change is the deco that I use and the kit themes. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.